everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be dialing in from around the world. Thank you all for joining and spending time with us for today's webinar, Top 10 Trends in Commercial Banking and Payments 2022, Blurring Lines Across the Ecosystem, presented by IT Novarica Group. I'm Caitlin Labby, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. We'll be starting the webinar shortly, but first, let me just cover a few quick housekeeping items. We will be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit your questions using the questions feature located in the GoToWebinar toolbar to the right of your screen. Also, today's webinar will be recorded, and a link to view the recording on demand will be available after the session for current clients of our commercial banking and payments practice. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Erica Bauman serves as Director of IT Novarica Group's Commercial Banking and Payments Practice, focusing on payables and receivables technology and solutions. She has over 10 years of experience in the wholesale banking space, bringing expertise from both banking and fintech vendor positions. She's worked extensively with both U.S. and international banks, vendors, and the clients of each to identify market opportunities and implement technology solutions. I'll turn the mic over now to Erica for further introductions and to dive into today's content. Thank you again for joining us. We hope you enjoy today's webinar.
Thank you so much, Caitlin, and welcome everyone. It's great to look at the attendee list and see so many familiar names, and it's also great to see the new names as well. For those of you that may not be as familiar with the commercial banking and payments team here at IT Novarica Group, I'm going to start by taking just a minute to provide a brief introduction to our team. So as Caitlin mentioned, I am Erica Bauman, the director of the commercial banking and payments team. Prior to this position, I was a senior analyst on the team under Christine Berry, who has now moved to be the head of banking and payments here at IT Novarica Group. So still part of the team, just including her retail responsibilities as well. We have Giles Eubags, I'm sure many of you are familiar with him, who also covers a lot of the payments topics with me, David O'Connell, who is our lending expert, Enrico Camarinelli, who sits in Milan, Italy, and has the expertise over trade finance and APIs and a lot of topics that many of you have spoken to us about in the past. And then we have two new members of the team, these two new faces to all of you, Paul Kazarian and Ben Nestor. We're very excited to kick off 2022 with these new faces. Paul comes to us most recently from Wells Fargo, and Ben Nestor comes to us from the world of academia. So really rounding out the team, really nice to make up this wonderful cast of all-stars that I'm so privileged to work with. So today we're going to talk about the 2022 themes. As Caitlin mentioned, it's blurring the lines across the ecosystem. I'm sure all of you have been impacted or at least influenced by the high-level trend of these blurred lines between financial institutions, fintechs, and how the end user interacts with your technology and solutions. And more importantly, how end users want to interact going forward. We're going to spend a few minutes on each of these trends today. If you have interest in any of these topics to do a deeper dive, please do reach out. We're going to head right into the first trend. Speaking of how businesses and end users want to interact with the technology that they need to be able to run their businesses, what we have found in our research is that businesses really do prefer to partner with their financial institution. However, if their needs are not being met, if they have business problems, that they feel like the solutions are not helping to ease the pain points from those business problems, they will find a partner. And that could be a different financial institution, it could be a fintech,